of curiosity this morning. I was looking on the way down. I noticed that the Powerball lottery was up to $70 million. I've shared before, Amy and I, we don't play the lottery much. But we do like to play what if. What if we were to win an amount of money that would change our lives? Or what if something was to happen that could change our lives drastically and things would hopefully be better off? Do you ever wonder that? Do you ever wonder what if you were to win the lottery or something was to happen that you would have an entirely different outlook on life? I know you have. At one point or another, we've all played the what if game. Many people get involved with the lottery and they place their hope on the slim chance that all the stars align for them and the numbers that they randomly choose, the numbers that they have a computer pick, or the system of choosing numbers, which is so complicated that it takes a mega computer or at least complex spreadsheets to figure it all comes into play so that they can hit it big. And usually, it's for naught. Usually, you end up spending $1, $10, $100, whatever it is, and you get nothing in return. But yet there are some people who seem to have the luck to win. There are some who can find a way of being able to win the lottery and monies that can be life-changing. In 2002, Jack Whittaker won the Powerball, which at that point was the largest Powerball winning at the time. And so this elderly gentleman from West Virginia won nearly $315 million. He chose to take the lump sum, which we all know is not as much. And so after Uncle Sam took his chunk of it, he still walked out with a measly $113 million. Not bad for a few dollars in the lottery. He was a Christian man, followed Christian practices, and pledged to donate 10% to Christian charities. As a part of his monies, he even went and built, or had built, a multi-million-dollar church deep in West Virginia. He founded his own foundation to provide food, clothing, to the poor and those of low income. Graciously, he took care of the needs of his friends, family, buying a car if needed, a house, giving cash to those in need. Is that what we would do if we were to win the lottery? But there's always a but. The money that Whittaker had led to a drug dependency in his granddaughter. And both she and her friend died of an overdose because of it. Because of the money, it became a new god to him. And he started drinking. He started visiting gentlemen's clubs. He would carry huge, not large, but huge amounts of cash in a briefcase. One time his briefcase was stolen out of his car to the tune of $545,000. When asked why he would carry such a large amount of cash, because he could. Today, he is broke. He has nothing left of his money, and he's lost most of his family. We do an internet search, a Google search for lottery winners. You will find more stories of those who won and lost than those who won and won. But I wonder, how many times do we, like Jack Whittaker, put our hopes, dreams, and prayers, even all of our eggs, into one basket? Something like that with the lottery. Many times we think of a new job will put us in a better place. Maybe a facelift or cosmetic surgery will make us look a little better and therefore feel better. We place our dreams in half-thought-out ideas, knowing that this will make a difference. But if we face life as a gift from God, then we can start placing the importance on giving glory to God rather than giving glory to ourselves. A part of that gift is knowing the grace, the gift of grace that was given to us through Jesus. See, when we come to see Jesus, see Christ for who He truly is, our physical lives may not be changed, but the outlook on our life most definitely does. God shares with us many stories, especially around that of the resurrection, of God's revelational power. The story of Jesus meeting on the road to Emmaus is one such example. And so I'd like you to hear these words from Luke 24, 13 to 35. It is the afternoon of the third day. Christ has appeared to Mary. She has returned to the disciples. They've gone to the tomb to find it empty and know that something is going on. So Scripture reads, now that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were walking with each other. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. And as they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus Himself came up and walked along with them. But they were kept from recognizing Him. Jesus asked them, what are you discussing together as you walk along? They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked Him, are you only a visitor in Jerusalem and do not know the things that have happened there these days? What things? He asked. About Jesus of Nazareth, they replied. He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers handed Him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified Him. But we had hoped that He was the one who was going to redeem Israel. And what is more, it is the third day since all this took place. In addition, some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb early this morning, but didn't find His body. They came and told us that they had seen a vision of angels who said He was alive. Then some of our companions went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said. But Him they did not see. Jesus said to them, how foolish you are and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not Christ have to suffer these things and then enter His glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, He explained to them what was said in all the Scriptures concerning Himself. As they approached the village, He said, to which they were going, Jesus acted as if He were going farther, but they urged Him strongly, stay with us, for it is nearly evening. The day is almost over. So we went in to stay with them. When He was at the table with them, He took the bread and gave thanks. He broke it and began to give it to them. Then their eyes were opened and they recognized Him, and He disappeared from their sight. They asked each other, were not our hearts burning within us while we talked on the road and He opened the Scriptures to us? They got up and returned at once to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 and those with them assembled, and saying, it is true, the Lord has risen and has appeared to Simon. And the two told what had happened on the way. And Jesus was recognized by them when He broke the bread. May God bless for our reading, our understanding, the reading of His holy and divine word. You see, you need to understand who these two disciples were. They were not part of the Big 12, or in this case, the Big 11, because Judas had already taken his life. But these two were a couple followers. They were disciples in the point that they were students. They followed along, they listened to the teachings. They were part of the 5,000. The crowds that would follow Jesus. That's who these two were. They were everyday people. They weren't in Jesus' inner sanctum. They were just common, everyday people. But because they had followed Jesus, because they knew what had happened, they held a love for him, a passion, a concern, a hope. That to them, Jesus' death was a disappointment. To them, it was a letdown. The hope that they had been looking for was not. And then to have some gentleman walk up, unbeknownst to them, not hear of everything that has taken place over the last 3 days. It's understandable they didn't hear that he had risen. But this guy hadn't even heard of the trials, the torture, the crucifixion. And this was big news. What was going on? Something wasn't making sense to them. So they shared the story. Tragic story. How the prophet was misjudged. But how the prophet was inappropriately murdered. How the people who had hoped lost that passion, that desire, that hope of what was to come with God. And so they invite Jesus in at the end of the day, and then he breaks bread for them. As we break bread around the table to the disciples, Cleopas and his partner, there's a revelation. All of a sudden, because they invite him in and break bread, sit at the table with him, their eyes are opened. They see Christ for who he is. He wasn't just a man. He is the Messiah. Can you imagine the excitement that fills their hearts? They go from depression to expression in a matter of moments. Jesus disappears from them. And notice what he says. They got up and returned at once. Why did they bring Jesus in? Because night was falling. They're 7 miles away from Jerusalem. And so in the darkness of night, they run back to Jerusalem because they've got news to tell. And can you imagine the story that they have to share? Guess what? He's alive. We've seen him. We ate with him. He broke bread for us, just as he did for you. Can you imagine listening to the story from that? He goes, you go back, I'm trying to find it here, where Cleopas is retelling the story. He meets somebody else and says, rather than, sadly, are you only a visitor? He goes, are you a visitor to Jerusalem that you haven't heard? This is no longer sad news. This is exciting news. Well, what news are you talking about? That about Jesus. Jesus of Nazareth. He is a prophet. Not he was. He is a prophet full of word and deed before God and everyone. The chief priests handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we know that he is the one who is going to redeem Israel and all of us. And what is more, on the third day, the day that Mary went to the grave, and the others, our friends, went and saw an empty tomb, we got to see him. He appeared to us. He's alive. He was not beaten. Depression to expression with the breaking of bread. Too many times, I think we are like the disciples standing on the road. We know Christ. We know Christ as the prophet who had so much potential. We know that he was a prophet full of word and deed before God and the people. We know that he was capable of doing great things. We believe that. We understand that. We know that. But yet when we talk about Jesus in our Bible studies, in church, with our close friends, not casual, but with our close friends who truly know us, we talk about him in a somber, casual, passive response approach. If someone was to come up to us during a conversation, how often would they say, "What is it that you're talking about? Who died?" But when we come to see Christ for who he truly is, our physical life may not be altered, but our outlook on life does. When we see Christ for who he is, we become like the disciples, like Cleopas and his friends. When our eyes are open, we see that Christ is someone who changes how we look. Not appearance-wise, but visually. You see, Jesus isn't just another Tony Robbins. He just doesn't give us the rah-rah speech of how we can change and help ourselves. But rather we see him as the Son of God. The Son of the one who designed us to be in a specific way for a specific cause. Our Creator. We see God as a revealer. We see Christ as a revealer, the one who shows us that we are to make a difference. We don't make a difference for what we do, but we make a difference for who we serve. And we see Christ as our Savior. We realize that we are not condemned to wander this earth. Christ defeated death. We are not here to just wander, to squander our gains, but rather we are to share our wealth in Christ and God for others so that they may come to see how their lives can be positively altered. How Christ can break the bread with them so they too can see Christ for who he is. We are not to be dependent upon the lottery to change our lives. Money may give us wealth, but it's not going to change our lives. Not for what we would like. We can follow the Christian teachings and tithe everything that we have to our newfound wealth. But money or any other worldly gain that we may acquire makes absolutely zero difference in our eternal wealth. See, when we come to see Christ for who he truly is, our lives may not change, but the way we see life does. Christ may not give us more money, but he will make our lives richer. Christ may not give us that perfect, ideal, better job, but he will make our work more meaningful. Christ may not provide us with that beautiful, luxurious dream home, but with Christ we know that one day we will live in the place that he has prepared for us. To God be glory, now and forever. Amen. Lord, we ask that you open our eyes. Break bread with us. Break bread in our hearts that we may open our hearts to see you for who you truly are. You aren't just some guy who came and walked the earth, but you are the Son of God. You are the one sent so that we may live a full life in your Father, for his glory, for others to come and understand just how much you love us.